Hi there, my name is Sue O'Hanlon and I'm here to bring you the refresh for Wednesday, August 30th. I've been listening to the Bible, going through the Bible in a year that our church has been doing. This last week we were reading from 1 Samuel 17 about the story of David and Goliath. A lot of us know that story, probably most of us. Some may not, and if you haven't heard the story, I would really encourage you, go read it. It's in 1 Samuel 17 in the Old Testament, and it would be really good for you to read that. But I'm going to tell you a little short version of it and the part that struck me this week. So the story is that David, people refer to him as a shepherd boy. Actually, they say he was probably 15 to 19 years old. He wasn't old enough to be trained for war yet. And his older brothers were at the camp, and they were supposed to be with the armies fighting the Philistines, and he was bringing them lunch. His father sent him to bring them lunch and some food and bring back news of how the battle's going. And so David takes off and he gets there and he starts hearing all this shouting that there is this giant and he is defying the army of the living God. He actually says that this day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. So he wanted to fight, I'm just going to adjust this just a little bit. He wanted to fight one person, and if Goliath won and killed the Israelite, whoever fought, then his people would submit to Israel. And if it went the other way, then Israel would have to submit to the Philistines. But nobody would go fight him. He was huge. They say he was a giant. He was very well armed. He was a warrior, and they were freaked out. They were terrified. And David was appalled that he was so boisterous and loud and would defy God that way. So he goes to Saul and he says, I'll go, basically. And Saul says, you're not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth. But David said, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, and I struck it and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by the hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of the Philistine. Now, I don't know about you, but if you sit and think about this, he's done some terrifying things. He's a shepherd. He's out in the field with his sheep. A bear comes and gets one of the sheep, and he went after him, and he fought the bear and a lion separate times, and in both times he was able to rescue the sheep and somehow attack those animals so that they died and they didn't kill him and eat him. People are bear and lion food, so they could have. Now, as I was thinking about it, I don't know if any of you have ever encountered a bear in the woods or a lion in the woods, but I have. I was on a backpack trip, and we were camping in Yosemite, and we were just camping under the stars, no tents. And back in the day, we used to carry these little, they called them Sierra cups. They were like a little metal cup. You could hook it on your belt or your backpack, and you could dip it in the streams and drink water from the streams. Believe it or not, we really could back then. There was some precautions, but we did that. I would not recommend that today. So we had our Sierra cups and spoons, and the deal was if you woke up and there's a bear, then you need to scream, wake everybody up, and start banging the Sierra cup and the spoon, and that's just how I learned how to address the situation of a bear coming. Well, that particular night, my little brother was with me, and I was responsible for him, and I was 18 years old, and there was 4 of us. We're laying there, and I see this bear walking right over to us. And my heart started pounding, and I yelled, bear, and I grabbed the spoon and the Sierra cup, and I banged it, and everybody else did, and the bear went away. Well, I just thought about how terrifying that was. Like, what if it didn't go away? And especially, I'm like, what if it got my brother? I'm responsible for my brother. And what if it got me? But the bear went away. I'm thinking about David out there by himself. I'm sure he didn't have a Sierra cup. And the bear had taken the sheep away, and David went after him, and he got it back. Now, I'm imagining that when that happened, that was not a good day for David. He wasn't like, oh my goodness, this is a great adventure, I'm going to go fight a bear. No, the bear was tough. And he knew God was with him, but he didn't know what was going to happen. But he went and he did what he was supposed to do. He rescued the sheep and he killed the bear. I've never seen a lion in the woods. I think that would be more terrifying to me. They could run really fast. Probably bears can too, I don't know. But same thing happened with the lion. Both of those instances, I would imagine David was not happy about. But they prepared him. They prepared his confidence. The Lord used them to prepare his confidence, his skill. He had no question, and his trust in God. He had no question that God would be able to do this thing. It even says that, I'll read you this part. First it says, all those gathered there knew that it was not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. As the Philistine, that was what David said, yeah. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, but the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into his hands. That's what he's saying to Goliath. And as the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David, he did not just stand his ground. He ran toward the battle line to meet him. And then he reached in his bag and he got the stones. So the reason I'm bringing this up is I think we all have some bears and lions that we have to face. Our families had our own bears and lions, traumas in the world, grief and loss and traumas. We all do. And the question isn't, are you going to have bears and lions in your life? It's, what are you going to do when they're here? What are you going to do? David waited a long time between the bears and the lions to see what God was preparing him for. And actually, if you read the whole story of David's life, he had been anointed by Samuel to be the king, but it took 15 years before he became the king. God put, and Goliath, that's in the middle. And that's toward the beginning of his life, all these years. And he did this glorious thing. He killed Goliath, and the king wasn't very happy with him because he got jealous and worried. And we never know what God's going to use, how he's going to use it. But God is with us. He's preparing us. If we turn to him and trust him, he'll use the things that are in your life to further his kingdom. We know that verse in Romans 8:28, that God works things together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. He does. But sometimes it's a long time before we see it. We just faithfully do our part. We do the next right thing. We trust God. We pray. If we're having trouble trusting, we tell him, I'm having trouble, Lord, help me. And we do the next right thing, and we just keep going. So I just want you to think about your bears, your lions. If they're not happening today, I'm so thankful. But they might have happened yesterday, and they might happen tomorrow. When they happen, I just want you to know that's what we do. We pray. We thank God for keeping us safe. We ask him, what's the next thing I need to do? And we just keep doing the next right thing and trusting God. Okay, thanks. You have a great day.